Chapter 3 Finesse Trap 6 Guides. Now, the finesse, it was like this rocket missile launcher that was the number one Taos Flame A1 thrower. It built up to like this new album, like flamethrowers, the red bag flamethrower. And I'm still like working this out. Like, how is this gonna work out? How am I supposed to pull off all these like obstacle courses of events that could lead to some type catastrophe? When I say catastrophe, you literally had to be like a number one grasp of like inner air. You had to grasp onto something in the inside for balance. And somewhere in there, it kept like blending and blinging into the situation. Somewhere in there, it just left a real shiny casket, but a beautiful corpse. Dying young, leaving a good-looking corpse. And the corpse, it was like the U.S. military Navy. It still didn't quite work for them. The man trade of the game, like the Wall Street. At the same time, it's still like is a calculated degree of connected for awesomeness to some type olderness. Like the baby was in awe of how it presented itself, but in the finesse of being like this older street cat, because there is such things as degrees on the street, especially if you just out there too much. You learn a lot of unnecessary treatment for those that struggle the obstacles of getting to it. Now, I'm not saying everything is just working itself out for good or worse, but somewhere in there, the still life piece, it represented like the childhood that manifested itself through like this vocal vocabulary of like a 6 trap finesse guy. Now the finesse guy, it still seemed like working it out wasn't the best way to go all the time, but the best highway to heaven is usually the staircase. Take the stairs, window to stairs. And the more I thought about like just working out any type of finesse, like most people listen to themselves on like the steroid view type stuff. But some days it's not even a view of it. Some days it's all about just formulated, grinding algorithms. The more of an equilibrium was more of a like a isosceles venticle, like an octopus. Like the more you touch, the more it shocks you. The more people lives you touch, the more it shocks you. You never quite knew whose life you were like introducing to all your thoughts. It may not be what you thought it was at all. Maybe something better, more detail. But at the same time, who was giving away the most details? There's something I would call potty mouth. You had a habit of just running, talking all shepherds non-shepherd stewardess, king of palace, Dorothy Getaway, Alice in Wonderland. Like, I'm still tripping how somewhere in there, the more you was like beating up like the psychology of the game, the more shit it finesses way through the back. Sometimes the people want to go in through the back door, finesse their way into like a thug boss. And hey, it happens to the best of them. But still, in the back of the finesse chapters, of the finesse guides, it's just kind of like be still, still like peace. The more still you were, the more the train of the river ran steadily. It balanced and evened itself out. It was a nocturnal nectar of a vision of the most gorgeous, vibrant vibration beam in the night, gleam in the night at that. Kind of just shined and told a story through the walls. The walls is somewhat the most difficult, adrenalic, compensated pulse until like the sensitivity is kind of like brain sensitivity to sensitivity. They kind of blast each other throughout the whole circuitry of the body. And the more it built up, the more I thought, like, hey, where would I find myself if I didn't finesse like an album, a degree, some type compensation, some type offering, some type work of degrees that landed to like the last table I probably ever flip on. The last table I ever flipped for a sheet of cash. But still, somewhere in there, finesse guys, when you came before them, you had to answer to somebody. And on your darkest page, it knew stuff about you nobody else could explain. And you just kind of had to like balance out the universe. Like, this is how it's presented to me. So to actually take super facts that I'm one of a kind, technically there is no human proof. And that's just my defense, and I rest my case for the finesse guys.